Hey, this is Bradley Benner with Semantic Links, and this is the explanation of the on-page analysis section of the full SEO audit. This is a very important section because we spend quite a bit of time talking about entities and optimizing for entities. Remember, we are in an entity-based algorithm now. We are no longer in a keyword-based algorithm. Since the onset of large language models and AI into the algorithm, right, being fully integrated into the algorithm, Google had shifted away from being a keyword-based algorithm to being an entity-based algorithm. So first of all, what is an entity? An entity is a person, place, or thing, okay? And so the semantic web is about how entities relate to each other or associate with each other, okay? And so what we are trying to do in order to optimize for the semantic web, or what we should be trying to do when optimizing for the semantic web, is to create entity associations, because that is precisely what the semantic web is. It's an entity-based algorithm, which is what we are currently in, okay? No longer a keyword-based algorithm. And so there's some concepts that need to be conveyed in this section so that you can understand why I'm so thorough in this section with my recommendation. It's because we're going to go through several kind of points here that need to be explained a bit further so that you can understand what I call category and topic optimization, which is entity-based SEO. All right. And so first of all, when we are optimizing for entities, again, I call that category and topic optimization, and there's a reason for that. When I talk about category optimization, I'm talking about literally Google Business Categories, which means we are optimizing for map search. When I'm talking about topic optimization, I'm talking about optimizing for Wikipedia topics, which are entities. Anytime Wikipedia has a page for something, that is an entity. It's a person, place, or thing. It's also a topic, okay? And then there's headings and subheadings within the Wikipedia pages. Those are known as subtopics, okay? And sometimes a subtopic can have its own Wikipedia page, which means it's a standalone entity, but it's also part of a larger entity or a larger topic, right? A broader topic. But in some cases, a subtopic is just a subheading or heading, a heading or subheading within a Wikipedia page, okay? But in either case, it's entity-based SEO. And so I call it category and topic optimization because in local SEO, we should be optimizing for both map search and organic search. Map search, we optimize for Google Business Categories, which were created. Google Business Categories were created from Wikipedia entities or topics, sometimes multiple topics combined to create one category. And I'm going to demonstrate that to you here in just a moment with some examples to show you exactly how Google Business Categories were created from Wikipedia topics. And then through that exercise or the process of identifying the Google Business Categories, which is easy to do because all we have to do is go look at, top ranked companies for the specific product or service search queries that your client wants to rank for, right? Or the business wants to rank for. And we can then identify the most common Google Business Categories, those that are common and relevant. And then we can determine how those Google Business Categories were created from Wikipedia topics or entities. And once we have all of that data collected, now we can optimize for entities at the page level to begin with. And so we do page level optimization using entities, which is what I call category and topic optimization, so that we are optimizing for both Google Business Categories so that we can improve maps search performance, and optimizing for topics, which is improving organic search performance. Okay, and so I'm going to kind of give you an example of how I do this in the audits, because this is just an audit template that I'm using to provide this kind of overall explainer video. But I want to give some specific examples, and I'm going to do that in just a moment. But before I do that, I want to talk about SEO title formats, because Google is still a document retrieval algorithm. It is a very advanced and an intelligent algorithm now, but it is still a document retrieval algorithm. And so when somebody searches for a search query in Google, Google returns a web page, not a website. However, because of the helpful content update, Google looks at an entire website now when determining which page is the most relevant to rank or to serve in the search results. And so no longer can you just optimize at the page level and not really concern yourself with how the rest of the site is optimized. Google looks, instead of only at the page level now, Google looks at pages from a site that are relevant to a query, but then it takes into consideration all of the rest of the site. And the rest of the site influences how Google is going to rank an individual page. Even for a page that would be relevant to a query, Google takes into consideration the overall site, not just the page level metrics anymore, if that makes sense. So in other words, the helpful content update forced Google to start looking at all pages as part of a whole instead of its individual documents. They are part of a larger whole, and Google considers all of that and comes up with an overall site quality score. That site quality score is then applied to every single page on the site. And so I'm bringing that up because it's important to understand what the semantic web is, which is entity-based SEO. What is an entity? It's a person, place, or thing. how should we be optimizing for the semantic web? Well, we should be creating entity associations when possible. And so that's why we're looking at this now, because we want to start with page level metrics, which is why the first point of the on-page analysis section of the full SEO audit is about page structure, is because we optimize first at the page level, because that is what Google ranks for search queries. But as I just mentioned, the overall site quality, its optimization, its health, technical factors, technical SEO factors, everything are all considered now. And so it's important to start with page level optimization, but then through the process of optimizing the page properly, that can dictate the overall site structure and the internal linking scheme. And those are the three most important things when it comes to optimizing the on-page factors of the self-hosted site, are page structure, site structure, and internal linking, and then overall site efficiency. Okay, so really there's four components, but overall site efficiency is incredibly important too. And so we want to start at the page level. And so at the document title, so the SEO title or meta title is the document title. Okay, there's main optimization elements at the page level, starting with the URL, right? And then there's the SEO title, then the H1, which is the page or post title. Then you have headings, which are H2s, then subheadings, which are H3s, 4s, 5s, etc., and then media and internal links. Those are the main optimization elements. Content is really not even considered much. And so we should be optimizing the content for conversions, to compel a visitor, a human visitor, to take the conversion action that we want them to. But we should be optimizing the pages at the main optimization points: URL, SEO title, page or post title, which is the H1, headings, H2s, subheadings, H3s, 4s, 5s, media, internal links. If we optimize those properly with entities, category, and topic terms, and using variants of those, then we can optimize a page at the entity level, which opens up that page's ability to rank for all the search queries that Google has associated with that entity, topic, or category. And let me explain, because Google has Google Business Categories, and I'm trying to get to this. This is what I was trying to get to. Google creates Google Business has Google Business Categories that there's a whole group of search queries that are in keywords, etc., that are associated with each one of those categories. And so if we optimize at the category level, then that page now becomes available to rank or be served, given an impression, for all the search queries that Google has associated with that category, even if the search query is not present on the page. Because we've optimized at the topic or category level, which, because of large language models, Google has an understanding of our language and understands all the search queries that are relevant at the topic and or category level. So no longer do we have to hammer Google over the head with keywords in order to force Google to recognize what the page is about. Google understands what the page is about based upon the main optimization elements, again, titles, URL, titles, headings, subheadings, internal links, and media. And those things are what we need to be optimizing with entity-based terms instead of keywords, so that Google understands that that page is optimized at the topic and category level, so that it can be served up for all of the search queries associated with those topics and categories, regardless of whether they are on the page or not. So it's a much more efficient way to optimize at the page level to begin with. And then as you optimize the page itself, that's going to help to determine what the internal linking will be, which helps to structure the overall site architecture. Okay, hopefully that's clear. And so this is what's called a semantic triplet statement. And when we are titling top level, the SEO titles or the document titles, right? So when we are creating the SEO titles for the documents or the web pages that we are optimizing, we should be optimizing with or titling them with semantic triplet statements, which is a entity association statement. And that is a semantic triplet statement is subject, object, predicate, but in layman's terms, as it relates to a local SEO campaign, it's who you are, what you do, where you do it, or who the business is, what they do, and where they do it. Does that make sense? And what that is an entity association statement. And what we're trying to do is associate the brand entity with the product or service entity, with a product or service entity, and the location in which it provides those products or services. Okay? And so you'll notice on each of the top level page types, there's not a single page type here that does not have the brand as either prepended or appended to it. You see that? That's because what we should be trying to do with top level pages at every single point, at every opportunity, is to create entity association between the brand entity and the products or services that it provides, and or the locations in which it provides them. So it's about creating entity association in the document titles or the SEO titles, and then you create associations between pages, between documents of the site through internal linking. So we're talking about entity association in the SEO titles, document titles, web page titles. And then we're talking about page associations within the site based upon our internal linking. Okay, hopefully that's clear. It's a much more efficient way to build sites. Here's an example. Most local SEOs that submit projects for me to analyze for an audit like this still have, keyword times city for every keyword, product or service keyword, times every city that they want to target in the area that they're trying to optimize for. That is excessive redundancy and duplication and is completely unnecessary in today's current search environment because Google has large language models fully integrated into its algorithm. And it creates a three-dimensional sitemap of the site, and it determines what the overall site is about and all of the different pages on this site. And if you just create associations between each product or service should have its own dedicated page so that the product or service can be fully described to a visitor or consumer about what the product or service is, how it's delivered, what it costs, what they can expect when receiving delivery, the timeline, like all that kind of stuff should be answered in the product or service pages, which should be one for every product or service, should have a dedicated page for that, okay? But then when it comes to locations, there should only be one location page for every location. And then you create internal links between the product or service page and all of the locations that product or service is available. And we do that through an internal link block. Okay, we'll come back and talk about the categories and entities in a minute. But I want to talk about when you have a service page. So when I say service pages, that doubles as a product page too. So product or service pages, you should have an internal link block within the content body of that service page, product or service page, that is going to list and link to all of the location pages on the site, which there should only be one location page for each location being targeted, not location, keyword times location for every keyword times every location, because then you end up with a ton of redundancy, a lot of duplication. And again, the helpful content update is specifically looking for that type of redundancy and duplication and lowering the site quality score of sites that do that, because one of the things that the helpful content update is trying to overcome is unnecessary use of Google's resources. So site efficiency, remember I talked about the kind of four most important things when it comes to on-page optimization is page structure, site structure, internal linking, and overall site efficiency. And so in order to make the site more efficient, we should thoroughly optimize the product or service pages. For each product or service should have its own dedicated page that is thoroughly optimized to describe that product or service. But then there should only be one location page for every location. And we create internal links. From the service page, there's an internal link block that is going to list and link to all of the location pages, which associates each of those locations with that particular service. Then likewise, on the location pages, there should be an internal link block that lists and links to each of the product or service pages, which creates an association between that specific location and all of the products or services that are available at that location or in that area. Does that make sense? And so now you can significantly reduce the number of pages and the amount of content, which reduces redundancy and duplication, makes the site more efficient, which improves the site quality score. And we can, and again, it's a much more efficient way to optimize. And when you're optimizing at the page level for categories and topics, now the page can rank for all of the search queries that Google has associated with those categories and topics, even if the query is not present on the page, because you're optimized at the entity level instead of the keyword level. Do you get it? And so now let's go ahead and talk about how these categories are created, and I'm going to show you some examples of that. We're going to start with I'll give you just a handful of examples. Service-based industries is what we do most of our work in. Most of my clients are service-based types of businesses, etc. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples of this. So number one, tree service. If you take a look at tree service is a category and a topic, because Google Business category is tree, little less service, but tree service is actually an entity variant of tree care and tree removal. Do you understand? So this one's a little bit more confusing, but if you understand it, if we any Wikipedia page, the official entity name is what the Wikipedia page is titled after. That's the entity name, the official entity name. But any bolded text within the any bolded paragraph text within the Wikipedia page is also synonymous with the top level entity or the official entity term. In this case I don't see any, but if you click on tools, what links here, and then click on hide transclusions and hide links and click go, these are all entity variants for that term right here. Do you understand? So that's a way that you can add diversity to the terms that you're using in the main optimization elements of the page, but instead of using keywords, you can use entity terms, which again are broader ways to optimize so that the page becomes available for all the search queries that Google has associated with that topic or category, even if it's not present on the page, which is why we want to use entity variants throughout the main optimization elements of the page, which is why I go through this exercise of creating this section that gets added right here in the audit, so that you have at your fingertips the Wikipedia entities that the Google business categories were created from that are relevant to this particular campaign, so that when you are going to improve the on-page optimization for the site, the GDP, etc., you can use entity-based terms because I'm providing you with the Wikipedia entities, so all you have to do is click on them. Okay, so let me give you another example. If we look at HVAC contractor, this is HVAC. So the Google business category is HVAC and then little c contractor, right? So it's HVAC and contractor combined. But how was that created? Let me show you. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate that. HVAC is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. It's also short HVAC. These are also entity variants right here, as I'm showing, as I mentioned a moment ago. We can click on tools, what links here, hide train exclusions, and hide links, and click go. And all of these terms right here are in terms that can be used interchangeably as synonyms for this official entity term. All right, so number one, HVAC contractor starts with HVAC. Well, then contractor that's what remember I've got a legend in the document here that talks about D being a disambiguation page. What that means is that a entity term can sometimes have multiple meanings depending on which context it is used. So the D is a disambiguation page so that you can select the appropriate contextual version of the entity. So in this case, an HVAC contractor is really talking about an HVAC general contractor. And if you see, general contractor is the official entity, but it says right here, contractor in North American English or builder in British English is synonymous with this. So it's saying a general contractor is responsible for the day-to-day oversight of a construction site, management of vendors and trades, and the communication of information to all parties involved throughout the course of a building project. So an HVAC contractor is actually HVAC and general contractor combined to create the category HVAC contractor. So do you understand that? I'm just hoping that you can understand how these Google business categories are created. Okay, so again, we've got, I'll just give you one more example. Furnace repair service is furnace, right? Furnace has multiple meanings depending on which context it is used. The context in which we would be talking is about furnace and central heating. So I'm showing you here that furnace repair service is the category which was created from furnace, and it's actually furnace central heating, plus maintenance, right? Maintenance equals repairs. If we click on tools, what links here, hide train exclusions, hide link, and clicks go, you can see furnace repair, okay? And in service, has a disambiguation page because service has multiple meanings depending on which context it is used. The context in which we would be talking about a furnace repair service is service economics, which is an act or use for which a consumer, company, or government is willing to pay. So hopefully you can see that furnace repair service is actually created from furnace central heating, maintenance, and service economics. Do you understand? That's those three entities combined, or topics, to create one category, which is furnace repair service. And so this is important to understand so that when I am preparing the audit for the specific campaign that I'm auditing, I'm going to list the categories and topics just as you see them here. Okay, and I'm going to link to the Wikipedia entities that created the Google Business categories, so that when I get to the section about page optimization, and I'm providing page structure recommendations such as SEO titles, H1s, H2s, internal linking, etc., I'm going to show with examples entity variants that I've extracted from the Wikipedia pages. And I'm going to give internal linking suggestions too, so that we can achieve through this audit process and the proper and the recommendations that I'm going to provide, you can create the proper page structure, site structure, and internal linking using entity-based SEO, which is category and topic optimization, so that the campaign can rank better in both map search and organic search. So hopefully that's clear. That is the page analysis section of the audit. I wanted to explain what the page structure section is about, why it's important, and why we are optimizing for topics and categories, which is entity-based SEO, and how to understand this section so that when I get into this section of your specific audit, you will understand what we're going to go through right here because of this thorough explanation video. This is Bradley Benner with Semantic Links.